It's talk and roll time!
How are you?
Good, how are you? Good, good. So I've been practicing for just over 6 years, and I've had professional success, but I needed an outlet for other, just a hobby, athletic training and so forth, and jiu-jitsu just solved all of my other problems of trying to find a hobby and things to do. And so I practice 5 or 6 days a week and compete quite a bit. It was nothing I expected to do. It's just become part of my life. So I'm very dedicated professionally to what I do here, but I'm just as dedicated outside of here to training. I had competed in traditional martial arts a little bit, and that was 6, 7, 8 years ago. And I hadn't competed in anything in a long time, probably about 20 years since I was in college, and enjoyed it. And I did about 6 tournaments in that. And then when I started jiu-jitsu, I knew from my other experience in Taekwondo that competing would help me get better quickly. So I signed up for my first tournament after 6 months and lost badly, and then lost badly, and then didn't lose as badly, and then eventually had some success. But with like NAGA and IBJJF and some of the other organizations, I stick with those tournaments until I do well in them. I learn their rule set, and with NAGA is probably my favorite of all of them. And with NAGA, I had competed and lost barely, competed and should have won, and so I made it a goal to earn one of the belts, even though they're a little bit obnoxious looking. Finally won one. So I just view it as a mountain to climb. I see people that are much better than me, and I want to achieve that. There's so many intricacies within that art where you can always get better. And something I learned in my 40s that I wish I learned 30 years ago is what hard work is really about. And it's not letting setbacks drive you away from what you want to do. So if I lose, I lose. If I win, great. But I'm always looking to get better, always looking for that, how am I going to improve on either a day-to-day basis, a weekly basis, and so forth. And competition helps me keep my focus, because you're always going to end up with that situation where you're not the best one on the mat, where you're being dominated. I've had success, I've had less than success, but I just always find that challenge and the goal, the ability to achieve my goals with hard work, to be the most rewarding part of jiu-jitsu altogether. What it brought was the ability to teach. Although the two are very different, obviously one is academic and one is a martial art. Both of them involve a very steep learning curve. Both of them involve aspects where somebody who's starting out with it would expect to do very well, because in the law school setting, because the person's just very intelligent and always been successful, or in the jiu-jitsu sense, because they're very athletic, and they realize early on that all of their success, whether it's academic or athletic in the past, won't make any difference, because it's new set of expectations, new sets of jiu-jitsu techniques, and everything you've done up to that point probably won't work very well, and it can be very frustrating. So I work with students. They're very smart and eager and have always been successful, and now they're encountering a line of thinking and analysis that's very different and not intuitive at all to them for the most part. And I have to help them adapt to what we're doing, both in terms of how you think and how you write and how you communicate. With jiu-jitsu, it's quite similar. You have the guys who come in who are wrestlers, guys who come in who've done traditional martial arts, other athletes like football players, and they think because they're bigger and more athletic, they're going to be good at it right off the bat, and they're not. And they're often frustrated, and you have to help those people work through that adjustment period And so what I've seen is as I'm helping other teammates in jiu-jitsu get better by overcoming those early frustrations, I also see the same kind of teaching working in law school environment when I'm teaching the students. So, and it makes me think back to my own development as in law school and early on is when you're working with something where you think you're just going to be natural and you're not, then how do you overcome that? Well, that I think it's both of those have the same kinds of again steep learning curves and difficulties you have to overcome. And I'm able to teach better, I think, because I've experienced that through jiu-jitsu, and now I'm able to see it in a different analogy, obviously, but different light in my teaching every day. It's a lifestyle. I've had a friend ask, when am I going to quit? Aren't you afraid of getting hurt? And I said, I'm going to do this until I can't do it. I got hurt in June. I was out for a month and a half, and I was depressed for a month and a half. It's a lifestyle because I don't know of anything I've ever done that gives you a sense first of modesty, because you start feeling humiliated for losing. If you're not humiliated, you're at least humbled. Then you get better, but even if you get better, you're still very modest about it because there's still plenty of people out there who will show you don't know as much as you think you do. So you don't see very much arrogance in jiu-jitsu. You don't, when you talk to others, whether you know them or not, and they practice jiu-jitsu, whether they're black belts or anything else, you don't see a lot of arrogance. And maybe at the very high level, some people can get a little bit cocky, but for the most part, everybody's modest. Everybody knows what you're going through at whatever level you are. And you just have that kind of a bond with other people. We know what you're going through. And so I've been in places where I wouldn't have thought I'd know anybody there. And I see somebody I competed against in San Antonio, or I see somebody I've trained with before at some other gym. And it's a small universe, but there's so much in common with other people who train, especially when they do it regularly and they really know what we're trying to accomplish with that art. So.